Come on. Daylight savings ended today, and the day hasn't looked that great, but it's fine enough now to try and get a walk in. But it's only just gone 4, so the sun's going to be going down a lot sooner than usual. Daylight savings ended over the weekend. Means that the sun is up a lot higher at this time of the morning. It means I'm not getting up when it's pitch black. Dawnish as I'm getting up, it's fairly light by the time I'm sort of moving around the house a bit more. Dogs aren't used to it. Their stomachs are still attuned to daylight savings time, and so they came in to get breakfast off me at 4 in the morning. They're like ready for dinner. It's around 5:30 because they get fed at 6:30, and they're just used to that time. They'll adjust soon enough. We always do. It just takes a bit of time. I know a lot of people hate daylight savings time. I would prefer daylight savings time to be during winter, so that you could actually have a longer day. Like you wouldn't be getting home in the dark. In the dead of winter, having that extra daylight at the end of the day might be nice. But then again, you do that and you're getting up and going to work when it's pitch black. I don't know. Let's get rid of it. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I think it's the same with a lot of people. Like, not everywhere in Australia uses daylight savings. Queensland doesn't. I mean, they're a lot close to the equator. Does not impact them as much. I don't think the Northern Territory uses it, or is it just Queensland? I'm not sure, but I just know that if you live up near the Queensland border during summer, and it really affects people who live in New South Wales and work in Queensland or vice versa, right up near the border, and you got an hour time difference, it can be awkward. Reading an article as we were switching over that if you include the Australian territories of Christmas Island and Norfolk Island, during summer we have 7 time zones. Running the white card course today. I was going through the list of students last night and I have 12, which is better than I was expecting. However, I've just got a concern that some of the kids, in particular the Year 10s, may not have a USI number, because that information was sort of hammered into my Year 11 kids. You need your USI number, you need your USI number. And when this one came, having the white card course having to move, me having to postpone it and change it, meant that I kind of missed the opportunity for announcing it on assemblies, because I might have been away on an assembly day and then we had a public holiday, which meant there was no assembly last week. That also messed up the return of notes, and so I was getting notes right up till Friday, which we always do that at this school. We always allow things to come in late. I had said on the note that it had to be in by Tuesday of last week, so that I could actually make sure I had all the paperwork together. And as it is now, it's going to be a bit of a rush to sort of go over things. But I just know that one of the main forms of paperwork asks for the kid's USI number, because you need it to be given the actual qualification, which means you need it to actually sit the course. I've got a bad feeling I might have to turn some kids away this morning. I sent an email to the careers advisor, who is the one who helps them get their USIs, whether he can check if some of the names, or if all of them, have an actual USI number. I can only confirm one. Actually, I can't even confirm it because he hasn't shown me it. He's just said, yeah, I've got it. It's going to be a long day because of the white card. Starting it at 9 to make sure that all the kids can be there on time, especially since some kids drop younger siblings off at the primary school. So I'm going against starting it at 8:30 as we did in the past, and it'll run through till 4:30. But reading the paperwork, there's a little bit of leeway in the way that we're allowed to run it now, in that we can pre-fill some paperwork. I could have started pre-filling the certificates just with my name and trainer number. I didn't want to start doing that and fill out too many of them and then find out that all the kids couldn't sit it, because unused certificates must get sent back and it kind of wastes them. And Safe Work New South Wales might be able to reprint them with the same number, but I'm not really sure. One of the other things that they've added is that once the course is finished and the assessment's finished, don't have to have the kids hang around. I can mark all of the assessment after the fact. I have up to 7 days to give the kids their certificate. I have to mail back all of my paperwork within 2 days. The kids will get their certificate within 7 days, within 5, because we're going to go on holidays. All will be revealed once I get to school. I'm only missing one class today. That's Year 11 construction, which was the reason why I put the course on today, because it was meant to be all of them. So Monday's done. When I was talking to the head teacher admin, she saw that I only had my Year 11 class period 2, and she knew the white card course was running. And she said, "Are you taking your Year 11 class?" And I said no. And she said, "Well, do you want to be the DP for the day?" And I said, "I can't, I'm running the course." She thought it was still the way where we had the external providers coming in to run the course. And she went, "Oh, I guess not then." When it came time for the course to start, there weren't any kids showing up. Then the Year 10s came, and as I suspected, they didn't have USIs, or they didn't know if they did. And I said, "Well, run and see this teacher, our vet coordinator." I said, "They could probably look it up or could help you get it. They wouldn't be able to join the course today if they didn't have one." I had one student arrive who had a USI, and I couldn't run a course with one student. And I said, "Look, I'm cancelling this one. I'm going to reschedule for early next term. I'll contact Region and see if I can just do a reschedule, or whether I have to apply for a new course because I've got all the paperwork there." Got onto Region and they said, "No problem, let's look for a date next term." So I went through my calendar, looked through the school's calendar, found a similar Monday early in the term where I still just have the one period class, so I'm not putting a burden on the school for covering my classes. They then have to go through to Safe Work New South Wales to see if they approve it, because they're the ones who actually provide all the certificates and the learning materials and all of that sort of thing. I'm now just waiting to hear from them. I changed my paperwork in our school system so that I can resend out information to parents and students and hopefully get it all up and running for early next term. And it still falls before my guys go out to work placement. Their cards should hopefully arrive before they go out, but if not, the certificate they get on the day is good for 60 days on a work site. Because the course didn't go ahead, I sent out an email saying to the school staff saying, right, the course had to be cancelled, the students will be in class, and the head teacher admin said, "Does that mean you can be DP?" I said, "Sure." So I was DP for the day. It was a fairly quiet day, only a few things going on for the year groups I was looking after anyway. That was the day. I haven't looked at what I've got tomorrow. I'll check that when I get home. You'd think I'd know my timetable by now, being 11 weeks into the term, but no. The reason I was really checking the calendars for next term is because I've got more professional development courses coming up, like the next stages of the courses that I've started, the Art of Leadership and the Choice Theory advanced one. Where did this come from? today's been beautiful, and then this is just blown in. Literally.
Use the right 2 lanes to turn right onto Richmond Road.
Small errand for work. With the welding gas, the main way that schools will do it is, and a lot of people, is you hire your welding gas and just pay your rental amount for having it every month. Now that's all good if you're doing a lot of welding, but when I was looking at how much I was spending on welding gas for our trade school, it was probably about $1,300 to $1,500 a year. And when I looked at how long I'd had some of the bottles, I'd had some of the bottles since 2019. So they're obviously not getting used enough. So I returned all those in February, and they've got a new system, another system called Flexi Plans, where you buy the bottle. It's a set fee for it for the year. If you use more, then you'll go and get a refill, and you're just paying for the bottle. If you still have them at the turn of the year, you're just paid that Flexi Plan. Bottles that I've ordered, it's costing me about $750 for the year. And if I'd ordered the same amount as what I had on stock, it would have been about $1,100, I think. It worked out less, whatever way it was. Actually, I said my first figure wrong. It would cost me about $1,300 to $1,400 if I had the same gas bottles as I had before. What I had before was costing me over $3,000 a year. It was a lot more. It was over $250 a month. And that was just to have bottles sit there not being used, or being really very rarely used. Now, my metal teacher has just gotten to the point where he said, I think we're going to start doing some welding. So I had set up the Flexi Plan back in February, but I hadn't gone to collect the bottles, and I hadn't actually paid for it because I didn't know it all got processed. So I paid for it yesterday, and they said I've got to just go to the nearest BOC, BOC, or Gas and Gear, and collect them. They don't do delivery for a Flexi Plan. So I rang them yesterday. They could see my order in the system, and I said, well, I'll come over tomorrow morning. I'll put it in the back of the ute, strap it all in, go back, and the metals class starts in 22 minutes. So when I get there, I'll just drive the ute around the back of the trade school. We can unload it and put it into the cages and get it all connected to the hose, the piping. Of course, our welding gas is all piped through the school, so the gas is actually outdoors in a locked up cabinet or a locked up cage type thing. So there's airflow and all that sort of stuff. And we usually just have it turned on out there, and then you control the gas from inside the building. The end of term, we'll go out and turn it off over the break. And because they haven't been doing a lot of welding, obviously, I am just going to get one oxygen, one acetylene, and one Argo Shield for the MIG. And I brought my trolley and ramps down with me this morning, so getting the bottles off the ute won't be so difficult.
You have arrived.
Loaded up with my gas bottles. You can see them standing up in the background. They said they can lie down, but that
Turn left onto Binney Road.
That acetylene one would need to settle for at least an hour, and being that the metal class is on now and we hook it up, they'd probably want to use it. So I mean, I had to get very creative with my strapping. Jimmy DeResta says, if you got one
Turn
strap,
right
you've got
onto
none.
Vardy's Road.
If you got 2 straps, you've got 1. If you got 3 straps, you got 2. So always go how many straps you need and then add 1. I think I've actually got 6. Pretty firm. But then just before I shut the back up, I put another one going from the 2 tie down points at the back up and around the tallest bottles, so they're kind of pulling back towards the back while everything else is kind of pulling towards the front, just to help it stay stable. I'll go back now, just drive straight around the back of the trade school and get the Year 10 metal to help unload. That's why I bought my ramps and the trolley, so that we can strap it to the trolley, roll it down the ramp, make it much safer. Just finished with Year 11. I had 4 students at first, then 2 turned up 15 minutes into the lesson. So they said that they were making a decision as to whether to go to football training over at senior campus or to come to class. So when I looked at the role, there were a few kids who I know are in the football team and they've signed out school business to go to training. There were quite a number away, and there was a few that decided to just truant class. Anyway, the ones who are here still completing safety tests, which is the most annoying part of the course. Before they go out on work placement, they have to do a go-to work placement online, kind of like an induction course, and it provides them a certificate to show that they understand the sort of things that they would need to do if they're going out on work placement. They then download the certificate and upload it into Evidence Central, and that's part of their evidence before going out to work placement. A number of students haven't done that. And some of them I know they've done the course, they just haven't downloaded it and uploaded it. It really does put a lot of responsibility on the students. There's 2 days left of term. We'll see what happens. And so ends another day. Just had Year 10 with the few in here that working and the others sitting on the seats. Hopefully we can have something better next term. Just finished with Year 12, again using the big screen with my laptop, showing them where stuff is on Evidence Central as we're working on it. We were working through a brand new task and just getting some of the information out, talking about the different types of bricks and using the bolsters. I need to buy more mallets because my mallets broke, like my little sledge mallets. I do have them tomorrow, but one already said I probably won't be here tomorrow. Last day of term. But I'm really loving the additional functionality of the workshop now, and having the class in here without having to go to different areas, because if I was in a theory room I wouldn't have been able to jump outside and grab a brick. Good having this layout. Getting better and better. Things always grow and improve. A lot of glare, but there's like, you can see all these little tadpoles. Or some of the big ones actually, they seem to be all just feeding in the one spot on algae, I don't know. That one's got little bud legs at the back. But there's something just there that seems to be really nice for them. And we have More tadpole eggs. I've heard some little frogs out here. I've only seen 2. The glare is making it really hard for the camera, but they really are just... They're going to town on something. I just wish I knew what. Whatever that little whitish thing is, that's what they're munching on. I think. Because that's where they all just seem to be diving in. Last day of term. Weather's beautiful. I hope we have beautiful weather throughout the break. It's definitely starting to get cooler, but only in the mornings. It usually warms up fairly soon in the day. I think yesterday when I had construction period 2, I had my sweater still on and we were only in the workshop doing discussion and that sort of stuff. This was year 12 about the brick and block laying course, and I moved around a bit to grab a brick from outside so I could describe and show them the difference between a solid clay brick and an extruded brick and that sort of thing, and the difference in weight. So I did get a little warm, but by the time I get into the workshop I need to take this off because sawdust will just stick to this thing like you wouldn't believe. I think I leant forward in the construction room just to turn off the light and got it stuck all over my belly. So I didn't get to talk to about year 8 yesterday. We had working with the kids on getting the flipper assemblies on our pinball machines working, and some of the kids were putting their things together. The space for their flipper handle was a little loose, and they said, "Is that going to matter?" And I said, "No, it won't matter at all." Mine was nice and snug. It mattered on mine because it didn't allow for the full range of movement without something rubbing and hitting. So I had to adjust my space, the gap for my flipper lever to go through, with a rasp and a file to get that gap widened out and other parts done. But it's like, it was the process of using the drill, pre-drilling, screwing, using washers to allow for a bit of free movement, and that's those sort of things within the assembly. And one of the girls got hers working, another couple was getting their parts together, and this obviously will go into next term, and next term is more of the materials side. This was meant to be the engineering side, and I think we've just gotten to the point of the flippers and everything, the levers. I'll kind of mix that theory up, and next term I want to get them to design their playing board. Still got to put the outside edges on and put in some sections for the launching chute and the launching plunger. So still got to do all those, but then the rest will be their design, and that's where the playboard is roughly the size of an A4 page, so they'll be able to plan out stuff. And I want to get some 3D printing or some laser cutting done and that sort of thing, so they can make some little targets and things. We had a great a well-being afternoon for the staff yesterday, and it was people running some activities for the staff that really didn't relate to work. Teaching how to make butter chicken. Some of my hospo staff were teaching people how to use the barista machines, and how to make a nice cappuccino and that sort of stuff. One of the art teachers was teaching people how to take photos with their iPhones or smartphones. One of the guys from Clontarf did a session on getting started in the gym and took some people into the school weights gym. The ag teacher said, did one on preparing gardens for autumn growing and planting and that sort of stuff. So it was all things that the people had a skill to share, but nothing to do with schoolwork. And that was the whole idea of it. Let's have something just for us to have a good afternoon, be together, learning something that's just not related to school. This is our second one now, because we did one at the end of last term. It's something they want to do at least once a term, generally towards the end of term when most people need it. And I think it's an excellent initiative within the school.